Living History, World War II stories as told by those who were there.
Today we have the honor and the privilege of hearing the story of Chief Radioman Dick Brown. Chief Brown was a sailor aboard the carrier Yorktown when she was sunk during the Battle of Midway.
We carried a few 5-inch guns, and they're not much. You can't fire them in the air. Right. But the 20 millimeter with their crews, I mean, we knocked down a few. But one went down the stack. Finally, Elliott gave orders to abandon ship, and you drop lifelines in there. They're lines with knots. But I went down a lifeline, and I'm sure I had skinned hands because I was going down fast. And then you got oil in the water that must be a foot and a half thick. And I'm a good swimmer. But, it's tough to make traction when you're in oil. But finally, I got away from the ship because I was afraid if it capsized, I'd be sucked under. And I wanted to get as far as I wanted. But also, I said, don't get by yourself because the Pacific is a very big ocean to find one little guy like you. So I swam where everybody else was swimming, and a longboat from the USS Balch, which was a destroyer, was out. And I caught a life preserver that they were trailing, and the gunnels were all full, everybody holding on, and I caught that, and I didn't let go. Now you've got to remember, in a task force or a task group, there's usually 4 destroyers and a heavy cruiser. So there were other people around, and everybody did their part. So I was taken aboard the USS Balch, and they took care of our physical needs. And to our amazement, the next morning, the Yorktown was still floating. It was tipped real bad. So they had arranged for a tug to come out from Pearl, and a destroyer on the USS Hammond went along on the low side, and they called for volunteers, working rates only. That's mechanics and machinist mates, and they were going to open up all the things and try to right it. But a lone Japanese submarine from a long distance fired a spread of torpedoes, and it hit the Hammond, and the Hammond broke in half, and the depth charges went off, and those poor guys aboard the Yorktown had to get off again all over. And the Hammond lost a lot of people because those blasts in the water can kill you. And then she rolled over and she went down.